Okay, guys, next up here I've got XLM to Bitcoin, Stellar Lumen to Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot of mixed signals in here, so can we get a count on this? Yeah, we can get a count on it. Put 10 Elliotticians in a room, you'd probably have 10 different counts, but this is what I come up with here. So, I mean, you could certainly make the case that really all we're doing is we're just in this range up here of this to somewhere down here. We're just kind of range bound. I think the last video that we did on this, it's pretty much what's there. So is there a count in here? Yeah, we can come up with a count on it. So how does that relate to where we are? So we're essentially sitting smack dab in the middle of the range. So what do you do with that? Well, regardless of how we count this, and I have this as a WXYXZ to finish down here with all sorts of variation there. I don't know that it serves us terribly much to work through where this leaves us. So it leaves us down here with a pivot in this essentially a triple bottom, quadruple bottom. How many times we bottomed down here at, I'll call it 29.03. So looking at that from this pivot, there's a possibility that we have something finished. Hang on a sec. Sorry, I'm back. Okay, so let's go from this 8 hour. Let's try a 2 hour and see what we can ascertain from this low here. So all of this chop is, what do you do with that, right? So you essentially got this look at this level here. So you just have indecision is really what we have. Right? So you just from here, it's just can't get through, gets through. Now maybe that's support. So this some sort of a diagonal finishes this leg down here. It's very, very choppy. That's, trading that, good luck. But we do get this move off of that low. So if we have that right, if this is the final pivot low, well, we should get a motive wave off of that, and you could make a case for one. It kind of, you'd have to go 1 A, B, C, and allow for that truncation in the C here for the 2. It does. I see. I'm a 2 hour here. I think this is from here. We go deep. But we hold. So if this is A, B, C. You don't love it. I don't love it. Let me go down to the 30-minute and see if that's any better down there. So it's good once it gets legs. So you might have to do it this way here. Call that a deep 2 over down here. So deep 2, then 1, 2 of the third. So you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the third. Let me scrunch this up a little bit. See if we can make sense of that. So if that's what we've got here, if this is a 1, 2, somehow we've got the 3. So we can check it. We can check from the 2 to the 3 and see how that looks. Well, that's kind of interesting. So we get through the 50. Look at the Vegas wave. It's just amazing, right? So it catches it just right in the lips of it. There we go for the 4. So we don't threaten the 1, right? It's deep. Granted, that's deep for a 4. Right, we got to give you that. So whether that's it's hard to call this here, but that looks like that's most likely our 1. Then we've got sort of the ugly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3. Yeah, it's deep for the 4, but we hold. Now look here, this low volume here, either accepted or rejected. This is quickly rejected, and then look, of course, algos get theirs, so they go from here to here, they get it, and then we get the reaction. So if we have that right, if this is a significant pivot and we've got the completed motive wave is in, well, it's like any 2 wave, same thing every time, guys. All right, so what have we done? We've just gone back to the 50. Kind of looks a lot like this, where it was a little sloppy around the 50, but we've had a reaction. So you could make a case that there's an ABC that's in, possibly, right? We could, there's a couple of different ways you could look at that. So it could be A is in here, B potentially still going in. So this could be the ABC of the B, because you can get, looks to me like you've got this deep push up here. So there's a leading diagonal in that A wave down here on this time frame. So I could get 1, 2, 3, 4 overlapping the 1 down to a leading diagonal for the A, and then we'd be looking for an ABC. So if I get this to here, there's the 786. Push it up here for the B wave. That's a contender. So we'd be looking for the B wave coming back the other direction. So we got our target between, we know the B anywhere from the 50 to the 618. So right in that zone looks very doable. So let's pull some of this off, clean up the chart and see, well, does that make sense? Well, if this is the A, which this looks, let's check that, right? So if we look here, this looks like an algo play here from this to this, sure enough, right? So let's get this one out of there. All right, so we can see there they get it again. Right? There's not a video that I don't think I've ever posted a video without that algo footprint in it. It's always there. You'll find it on some time frame. You will always find it. So there it is. The software kicks. Oh, interesting. Look at this. So software kicks in right here. Right? We've got this prior pivot. Right? It kicks in. They sell it. Drive it down to target reaction. Right? So potentially now what you have here is this just going ABC. So we'd be looking for something like this to come in and give us that completed three-wave structure for our B. Set that up again. Now we could go deeper. Right? Nothing says that has to stop there. Right? Anywhere in this range. But here's your prime zone between the 50 and the 618. Right? So if that goes, we could go revisit this target. Right? Could go deeper down. So we would actually be pulling it from here. All right, so that would put us right into the golden zone, and that would give us our C target down here. Note low volume here, so we've got a little cluster here. So the idea being, if that comes up, the next trade would be a short, right? Looking for that. Well, if it did that, let's just say it did. Can we build off of that? Well, if this is a completed, that's where all of this has completed this major correction here. If all of the significant resolution is found in that pivot there, and this is our first motive wave, it's an impulsive move coming off of this low. If that's legit, well then all we've done is put in a one wave. So of the larger degree, we just go here. So taking it from that pivot. So that's a 1 potentially. The 2 goes in, then the 3, 4, and the 5 just placeholders up there. Let's go. We'll put that back in white. We'll go up. Oh, that's a good degree. All right. So this could potentially now be our one wave. If that's our one wave, we're just going back to our low here. We've got a completed 5-wave structure, right? Where's our buy zone? Right between the 50 and the 618. This is our buy zone here, right? That's where we're looking for this. Now, interesting how that lines up, how we have goldens, that we have the algo target. Again, now we don't know how this trades. We don't know what happens here. Right, so that's just hypothetical. Could this be the front run on the 50? Seems less likely here, but it's possible that we've just put in the A wave. This is some A, B. It looks to me like there's one more kick up. So if I were looking for the short side, I'd wait for better pricing up here. Looking to get that pushed down, right, as I've just showed it here. So if we get this down here, then that sets us up rather nicely for the 2. Now, ideally, we'd stay above the 65. We know a 2 can go down to the 786. It's not uncommon. So you'd have this, but I would be looking to be a buyer ahead of that. Right? So if we're gonna go A, B, C, so part of that is a function of what this looks like coming down. In other words, if, and again, I do not know that we go up there, but if we go up here and then we come down in something like this, right, then that would give you some insight that's where Elliott Wave is helpful to us. Is what does the pattern look like? Do we have a good ABC finishing with 5 coming into the high probability zone where we'd be looking for the 2? Right? Because if that is our 2, and we might want to give that some room, if that's our 2, well, we know 3, 4, and 5 are way, way, way up here. Right? So that would be 3, 4, or pardon me, 5 would be up there, just placeholder. So if we're going to get a true, now let's put the whole trade together. So if we're going to get a true move like that, well, that's steep enough. You'd have to go to get the 1.5 or the 2 on that. Let's see what that looks like. There's the 1.5 maybe. Right, so if we're going to do that, so I'm down here on a 30-minute. If this is going to go as 1, 2, we have a potential corner pocket here. Again, now this is all hypothetical. I don't know where this pivot is. I don't know that we turn there. But if we see that, so that's always the idea. You're trying to be a step ahead of the market and do some forecasting. Right, so again, we don't know that it does this, but it's nice to have a path so that if it does, and there will be times where it will follow this exactly. So, as I said in the last video, this is what's most probable. That does not mean that that's what will happen, but it's the most probable scenario. I have 5 down. most probable to be an A wave. If I'm going to get this little push up beyond this pivot and give me a 3-wave structure, most probable is that that's a B wave, right? Because we're just correcting this impulse. A, B, C, right? Wouldn't that be pretty, right? To a golden corner pocket. Golden corner pocket, highest odds in trading, 80% probability of making the median line. So often, right, we can make it right here. Right, so it doesn't mean that it lines up and it hits at the algo target. Could hit way up higher. The point is, if we get it there, right, if that pivot holds, 80%, best odds in trading, which I stress it's my favorite trade. So we can, you see what we're doing? We're trying to use the pattern of Elliott Wave, of an impulsive 5-wave structure, in conjunction with a 3-wave correction that tags all of the algo plays. So we're trying to use Elliott Wave, market geometry, and what we know, the one algorithm that we can see its footprint. Right? We can see it. We can track it. So we know what it did last. If we line that up, then that's, again, why would you not take that trade? I mean, that's the name of the game. Right? You never know. There is no certainty. There is no, oh, I know what's going to happen. There's only probabilities. That's all you get, guys. And that this is the most probable outcome. Now, if we go down here, shit, that could happen. Nothing says that this has to hold. It may not even, we don't know. But if that lines up, that's a trade you have to take. Right? Otherwise, what? Number one, why are you watching my videos? Right? If you wouldn't, if that's a must take. Right? Secondly, if you're not taking that, what is it you're waiting for? Confirmation? Okay, you like the confirmation? Okay, well, good. So, oh shit, that's scary. It's coming down. I don't know. Well, then you wait for this, and you take the first 50, right? On the idea that you're going to get that, right? So you don't like to try and pick the turn here at the golden zone. A little uneasy with that. You let it pivot if, emphasis, if it's going to pivot. Wait for the first move off of that. Maybe you go down to the 15-minute and you take this trade. Right, so then, see, do you understand that? So the idea is, if you take this, you clearly know where you're wrong, right? If it takes out that pivot, oh, I was wrong. Right, so, but you're able to get in the market with very low risk, combining all of those components: pattern, price, geometry, Elliott Wave, algorithm. Every chart is a constant search for that setup. Can you find it? Right? I mean, you can pick one particular trade that is your trade, right? This is my trade, right? That's my favorite trade, right? Why is that my favorite trade? Because it has the highest odds of any trading, so the most probable outcome, right? And I love to take this kind of thing. So for me, that's a must take. This is the add. So I'm not going to load the boat here. If I get this move, if I get this, we don't know what it looks like. But the first 50, that's your chance to add. Right? That's how you turn an okay trade into a great trade. Maybe you get this. Maybe you get that. Right? You don't have to get it very often. It just takes a couple of times where oh shit, man, I laid that roadmap out just perfectly. Look at that. Right? Very low risk. Right? So right, potentially, what would that risk reward be? Right, let's say you took the second one here. There's your add. And that's just first algo target. That's not assuming that we're going, put the stop under the pivot there. That's 6.7 to 1. 6.7 to 1. Right? If we get a true wave 3 and we go to the 1618, 13.4 to 1. Right? So you're risking that little bit. Right? How many times do you need to get that? Not many. Right? That's kind of the point. It's always a process of trying to get in the market. Be very clear about where you're out of the market. Do the math. What's that impact to my account? Can I afford to take that? If I can't afford the size that I'm currently looking at, well, maybe I got to back the size down. Right? Maybe I'm going to stair step into this. Maybe I take a little piece of it here, get a retracement, I can add here. Get another retracement, I can add here. And that's on the assumption that we're only going to the first algo target, not that we're going up to a wave 3. Right, plenty of opportunity to add along the way. So you don't need to load up here. You're trying to get the pivot. Do we have this roadmap underway? Right, so no reason to assume not until proven otherwise. So if this turns here and we start to break down, well, now we got a different scenario. This all could still happen at the 786. Right? This is less probable that the B doesn't make the 50, but it certainly could happen. So all of this, the only thing, so you would have taken a stop. Let's say that we go down here. Well, actually, if it went down here, we never got this. So you're still, maybe you bought here, you got a little bounce, you put your stop under the 65, you're stopped out. All right, what'd you lose? 50 bucks? Okay, you reload down here. Do I still have pattern, price, geometry? Yeah, I do. But what have I lost now? If I break the 65 from swing low to swing high, I've lost the algo side. I've lost it. So what we always want to get an algorithm on, we want to get behind what they're doing. So let's say you lost that here, right? Well, where you got to wait now for the first 50 where you can get an algorithm behind you. Or I should rephrase that, where you can get behind an algorithm. Do you follow that? So if we break here, so let me do it this way. If we break this 65, we go down to the 786. From an Elliott Wave perspective, that's still very valid. That could certainly be a 2-wave. But where's the algo, right? The algo is going to be fighting against you because the algo is going to take the 50 on the way up. So you know you're going to run into this. Right? This is the advantage of what I'm trying to teach you here. So if it breaks that 65, I do not have an algo on my side. Even though I've got pattern, I've got potential geometry here. I've got a corner pocket. Not a golden corner pocket, but I've got a corner pocket. Still, doesn't matter. If that pivot holds, if this holds, 80% probability. We don't know when it gets there, but that 80% holds as long as this pivot doesn't break. 80%, 80%. Right? Did you follow that? So but if it starts to come back this way, we're going to run into this. We're going to run into that 50 that has that target. Right, so you have to factor that in. Where can I get, so knowing that, then you look down here and go, oh, well, shit, now we're right back to another double bottom, right? Remember, we've been range bound for, as I showed you here, we've been range bound the whole time. We just keep going back to these double bottoms. Where would that put us? Right back here to the low end of the range. Certainly possible, right? I mean, you can just, it's just right there staring you in the face, right? Right back to the low end of the range. Is that a buy? Well, you're not. But that's a simplistic way to approach it and saying, well, that has been demand every time we got down there before, right? We got a reaction, we got a reaction, we got a reaction, got a reaction. Maybe we get a reaction again. But you know, so you're going to just trade off of maybe, maybe, right? Maybe's not good enough, right? I would propose you, why are you trading on maybe? Let's line everything up. God, there's no shortage of trades. Be picky about your trades. Wait. You don't get it just right? Next trade. Wait until you get it just right. Don't take it just because, oh man, I got a hunch. I don't know. I read something on Twitter. Looks pretty good. I don't know. I've been down here before. You got to line it up. Get at least 3 components lined up. So you've got confidence. You're not taking that trade going, oh shit, man, I'm a little uneasy about that. I'm not sure. I don't know. Then you get into that whole self-doubt, which is why you want to piece these together and go, I take that trade every single time. So then you don't, I know where I'm out. I know what my targets are. I take that trade every time. That's the state of mind you want to get in. And unless something were to change radically in the market to where we're not seeing this algorithm operate the same way, maybe you readjust there. But there's got to be a certain trade that you always take. And it should combine 2 or 3 at least components that line up just the way you like them before you take the trade. Right? It's just that there's trading. It's the essence of trading right there. All right, guys, got on a bit of a rant there. Oh, so I guess the point I'm trying to make here, if we go back to where we were down on this 30-minute, all right, it's a bit of a wait and see, right? So first thing we're waiting to see is, do we take out this pivot? Where's this B coming in? Do we get it? Do we get it up here where we want it? And then what does this look like coming down? Simple as that. All right, guys, I got one more to do by request as we pulled all the Twitter followers today. By request, we'll be looking at Ripple to the dollar. That should give us enough to work with here. So there is no trade unless you're looking for the short side here. I prefer the long side, so I would wait myself trying to catch this at the 618. All right, guys, that's all I got.